Hello everyone. I'm going to introduce you to a plugin that I developed called IAPHelper. I developed this plugin basically because I'm an instrument student and going through the whole instrument rating business, and I needed something to help set me up for approaches um, fairly quickly. And the map feature here, as you see, you can go ahead and click on your airplane and drag it to another location, set a altitude, speed, and pitch, and everything. And that's well and good. If I wanted to transport myself to another region, then the map sometimes, it's difficult to kind of get it to where you drag it to the correct location. You have to restart into a new area of the world, basically. I just wanted something that's going to be more abstracted to where I know the transitions, I know the approach, take me there, or take me to a relative position from that location. So that's basically all this does. It also does a couple of other things about setting you up for that, and I'll go through that in just a little bit. So you can download the IAPHelper in the link I give in the description. And feel free to comment, ask questions in the comment section of this video, or on the link to the video on the xplane.org site. So we'll go ahead and start up the IAP configuration. And I already have the KSBP approach here, but normally what I do is say, like, if I wanted to choose Santa Maria, I can load that and see the ILS localizer 1.2, RNAV 1.2, RNAV 3.0. But let's go back to SBP, sorry. You'll also notice that if you put in an incorrect airport, you'll get an error message. Whatever messages come down or appear here. So this may not be a supported U.S. airport because I've entered in the wrong ICAO. Alright, so we have the ILS 1.1, localizer 1.1, RNAV 1.1, RNAV 2.9, and the VOR alpha approach. So we're going to practice on RNAV 2.9. We're going to set ourselves up. So CATB is the intersection that I prefer. If we look at the plate, CATB is the closest intersection to the runway. Sorry about that. Let me clear that. CATB right here. The other intersections are Winner and Fabeg and Kiki up to the north. So they take you out further. If you want to do something real quick and you want to kind of repeat that, you may just want to set yourself up to the closest waypoint. In this case, CATB. So we want to do that, and we're going to set distance 0. Well, normally you maybe set a distance a little bit of ways from the waypoint in that direction, and then this way you can kind of get yourself stabilized and set up. It just depends on what your use case is. So the bearing is going to be the reciprocal of the so if we see 110 basically points away here, right here, and that's what we'll want. This way it'll set us for a heading of 290. The altitude is set to 5,000. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and look at our plate. CATB, we want to be between 3,900 and 6,000. Usually there's just a floor altitude, but in this case we have a floor and a ceiling altitude. So we'll set ourselves up for 5,000 so that we can actually in this case we would want 4,000. So pardon me for that, because we're going to be right on top of CATB. Indicated airspeed, this is generally pretty good for a 172. You can set 80% of VNO, which is basically your your maximum green arc value, where you enter into the yellow arc, which is only applicable for smooth air. So 80% of VNO, or whatever you indicate here. The throttle is just the percentage of throttle, and this is 80% for our particular scenario. And then these are values of the illegal values that you can put in. So -10 trim, just a little bit of down trim. You could already set that prior to starting out if you want, but this is just to enter it in if you want. Gear down is if you have a retractable gear, you may want to have the gear up if you're sufficiently far away, and that's a feature that's not going to be on your maps. If you're starting from the ground, you have to have your gear down. So if you start off on your map, then you have to retract your gear when you've spawned into that region. And in this case, it will automatically have that done for you. You can input the flight plan to your primary GPS. In our case, we have the 650. This won't work for sure, but the 530 and 430, it should try to enter in your flight plan. This is a highly experimental feature. I'd suggest trying it just if you wanted to see how to do it. It just really depends on your taste. It may or may not do a good job in entering in the coordinates. It just depends. It's sometimes a limitation of how the waypoints are put into the GPS, and it just maybe bugs on my part. So proceed with caution on that one. And then close after spawn is checked by default. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's not checked by default. I checked it, but basically it's a convenience to close the window after you've spawned. And let's go ahead and do that. All right, so pause the simulator, and we'll go ahead and find out where we're at. So there's San Luis right up there, and we are directly over Chatham. 290 heading. That's going to be true heading. There's a small bug fix I need to do to make it a magnetic heading, since I assume this is what we'd like to aim for. So you'll notice there's a small amount of variation there. That fix should be coming soon in 1.2.4. But for right now, just bear with it. You can make that calculation based on what you know about the variance in that area. And that's about it. There's not much more to the, you can kind of just redo this over and over again. And, if you don't like how you're positioned, you can do it again and again. And again, it's really just meant as an abstraction to using the map feature. Yes, you can drag the plane around, but if you're an instrument, you like to do IAPs and you know your transitions and you don't want to have to pull up the map to have to do all that, this is a nice convenience, and it based on the FAACIFP, so it's up to date. That's about it. And and the other thing I wanted to mention is for the 650 or any of the GPSs, if you're manually inputting the GPS, you may want to wait till you've spawned or set up the flight plan for the destination. Ahead of time, but don't activate it until you've actually performed the spawn. So you kind of set yourself up. This is the 650 example, but 530 is probably kind of the same thing. You'd activate it upon after you spawn. You pause the simulator and then you activate the GPS. That's about it. If you have any other questions, like I said, just leave a comment on the video or post comment on the site. Have a great day. Bye.